Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our CFA webinar, where we are honored to have Mr. Praveen Sancheti, sir, as our esteemed speaker. Sir is a highly accomplished professional holding the distinction of being a chartered accountant with an All India rank 11 and 15. He has also achieved an impressive 4 times All India rank in actuarial papers. And he has also achieved 14 out of 15 papers in actuarial science. He holds a designation of CFA Level 3. He brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to our session today. Join us as he's going to share valuable insight into CFA curriculum, strategies for success, and his personal journey. This is an excellent opportunity to learn from one of the best in the field. Let's get started now.
Hey guys, so let me just jump straight into the discussion. That's a very generous introduction given by Dipti. It's not as fancy as it sounds, and I think when I discuss a little more about my journey, you'll get a little more clarity about what led to this cascading effect of one after the other, things that I had the opportunity to pursue. So like it was said, let me just give you maybe a couple of minutes of incremental information insight about my background that will help the cause here. So I was born and brought up in Nepal, spent my first 15 years there. Decided that I had to do something either in sports or study extensively and make a career out of this. Chose the latter one because of certain things that had happened, and here I am. Moved to India after completing my class 10, did my high school, graduated from St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. By the time I had graduated, or before I had actually got into graduation, I had already signed up for chartered accountancy. Simultaneously, I was driven into the world of risk, finance, core finance, and I decided to take up actuarial science at that point of time too. Beyond that, because of certain circumstances, which I want to detail out slightly later, I also ended up joining CFA, and recently I cleared my third level of CFA as well. With level 3, you just get pass or fail. They don't really give out a detailed evaluation. So that's kind of been the journey for me. So I think the basic agenda of today's session, and I don't want to keep it a very long monologue right now. I just want to keep it open for you guys to ask out a lot of questions, because I had the opportunity to go through whatever you had shared in the registration form. And I want to ensure that we can maximize this opportunity to take questions from you, so that you at the end of the day feel that Acha, our questions got addressed. I want to set the tone first and discuss about why at all would it make sense to pursue a certification, be it anything, maybe CFA or FRM or anything like that, in today's world when the things are moving so rapidly. So just to set the context or to set the tone for why pursue CFA in specific, because that's what we are trying to focus on over here. Ideally, I would like to believe that CFA is something that can appeal to three kind of people, right? First and foremost would be someone who is hardcore enthusiast about the field of finance. You're already, I would like to believe, and I'll get a little more inputs from you, but I think mostly people think about it when they're graduating and they have to think about what next. So at that juncture and at that point, you have to make a very critical decision about what next to pursue. So people who are like, I want to make a career in hardcore finance, and I'm not saying just finance, because finance today is used as a very broad term. But if you want to get into hardcore finance, into fields like, let's just say, portfolio management, or you want to get into asset management, you want to get into equity research or any other specific fields which are got to do hardcore finance, unlike, let's just say, the other field in finance, like I'll just throw out big names over here. It can be something like product control, wo bhi finance hota hai. So finance is a very broad term, but if you want to get into a field which is more exciting, more pragmatic, and where you would have to be on your job and every day feels like a new day, for example, equity research, investment banking, in those kind of profiles, it makes a lot more sense for you to have a CFA. So first cohort is people who have a great clarity about mujhe finance mein hi kuch karna. If you have that clarity, this makes sense for you. Second can be people like me who So because I got through with chartered accountancy, and I ended up getting a rank over there as well, I could get a place into the field of investment banking even without getting my CFA designation. So usually you would find investment banking profiles, at least historically, if you go 5 years back, usually you would have MBA, CFA kind of people who would be there. But because the doors opened up, I was able to get an opportunity just as a chartered accountant. But when I moved in, I realized that there were certain things that I was lacking. In order to build that up, I ended up, registering for CFA. I gave my first level after COVID. I gave a break between level 2 and then level 2, level 3. I cleared simultaneously in the last couple of attempts. So second can be someone who did not necessarily know that, okay, this is what I'm going to fall into, but eventually decides that, okay, this is where I am, and maybe, this designation makes sense for me. So this is for someone like me who wasn't really sure about what he wants to do. After I got in, I decided for myself. Third can be someone who's like a blend of the first two. To be honest, not everyone knows that you want to get into hardcore finance. Even doing a CFA or BCom or jo bhi certification does not necessarily mean that you will get into this program. So third cohort of people would usually be someone who does not have a pure clarity about what next. So us state of mind mein, if you are someone who thinks that CFA can be a good career for you, and you don't have a lot of other things in hand at that point of time. For example, अगर आप simultaneously CA कर रहे हो, या if you are doing something else and you don't want to get explicitly into it, it may not necessarily make a lot of sense for you. But for someone who has entered into, let's just say, you've entered into BCom, you don't necessarily, you aren't necessarily aware that, let's just say you're not doing CA, let's just say you're not doing actuarial science, or let's just say you're doing either of those, but you're not necessarily fixated on a particular field or a particular job. That is the third cohort of people who usually are most of the people that end up signing for CFA at least level 1. So teen type of people are there for whom it can make a lot of sense to pursue this certification. The benefits of this certification are many, but it will have to be looked at from a very holistic point of view, because a lot of you guys in the registration form had asked ki, sir, is there any value of doing CFA standalone? If I am doing a CFA, what should be an incremental designation or an incremental degree that I should pursue alongside this in order to maximize my value? So to address those kind of questions, let me tell you what has changed today as compared to what it was a few years back. आज के डेट में if I have to talk about CFA, doing a CFA standalone, you will find, and I'm not, I don't want to exaggerate anything. I don't want to, make anything low key, but you will find a lot of people, despite having done CFA level 1, level 2, even people who have cleared level 3, not really getting the kind of opportunities that they had thought on day zero. Ki, sir, I'll get this opportunity if I pursue a CFA. They have done this, they've done level 1, 2, 3, and they're kind of unnecessarily stuck. So those kind of people are also there. Simultaneously, you will also find people who have done just CFA alongside, of course, their graduation, who are doing exceptionally well in their overall career. So to put things into perspective, CFA alone is not sufficient, just like BCom alone is not sufficient, just like CA alone is not sufficient, even MBA alone is not sufficient. आज के डेट में you need a holistic perspective, which means you have to work a lot upon your softer skills. You have to work a lot upon other aspects as well. Just because you have a CFA doesn't mean you will get into hardcore finance. Simultaneously, जब आप graduation कर रहे हो, you will also have to focus on other key areas like learn financial modeling, learn how to read research papers, prepare your own research notes and send it across to a lot of people. Basically, apply whatever you have learned in CFA practically by yourself in order to showcase that you genuinely have an interest in this field. To those kind of people who are doing both of these things, like working on a designation like CFA and simultaneously working on softer aspects, those are the kind of people who you will realize end up getting the kind of roles that they want. So CFA alone, agar aap, if you join this seminar, if you wanted to hear from me that do CFA L3 and you will get a whatever 20-30 lakh investment banking role, trust me, it's very difficult to get that today. So you'll have to work on both. To add to a couple of questions, like I said earlier as well, which were asked by a lot of folks, which was around what is the best degree to add along with this, it's not a competition to add degrees to your name, right? Your first degree is going to give you all the knowledge and information that you need. Second and third degree can either be a waste of time or it can be a value add, but for that you have to strategize accordingly. To me personally, if you ask, most of the people who add significant value are the ones who do a CFA along with an MBA. So most of the people, अगर आप देखो जो CFA के साथ who are doing an exceptionally great role are usually the people who have done CFA level 1 or level 2, and alongside that they're doing their MBA, and by the time they're done with their MBA, they're trying to cover CFA level 3. So they are CFA plus MBA, and then they get into all the exciting opportunities and roles like investment banking, and portfolio management, asset management, private equity, venture capital, where of course there's a lot of money, but along with a lot of money you end up getting roles which are very, very exciting. Every new day brings something which is very dynamic. Because aaj, for example, let me just give you my perspective. On Friday I was working along a company trying to help them raise funds who are into robotics, right? Usse just pehle I was helping an Ayurveda company to help them raise funds. Usse last week, actually it was in the month of September, I was working alongside a broker who himself wanted to raise funds, a brokerage firm. So ideally what changes when you're getting into hardcore finance is, आप एक इंडस्ट्री में नहीं, you work alongside multiple industries, you get to learn a lot of things, and the pace of learning actually is so fast that eventually in 4 5 years and 10 years you become so experienced that your overall knowledge is so much that you of course end up getting paid a lot doing that. Of course there are exceptions to that. People who do not do well in 1 or 2 years, they realize that this is not the field for me, and then they back out and decide to do something else. So the general notion or the general conclusion that I want to put to it is, decide for yourself which of the 3 buckets you fall into. Are you sure you want to get into hardcore finance because you have read research reports, you have spoken to seniors, and you know that this is the field for you because because this field really excites you? Or second, you're someone like me who accidentally gets into a role, and then to upskill yourself you have to get this. Usually very few people do that. Or third is, you want to keep your doors open, so why not do CFA L1 L2 and then decide कि by the time you're done with your graduation आपको CAT देना है या NMAT देना है or whatever, and then go do an MBA, and then come back and complete your CFA if that makes sense for you. These are the 3-4 kinds of people. Decide for yourself what makes a lot of sense for you. Now coming back to one of the questions which has already come, I want to open up the door for Q&A later on. But what is the fee for this program? Honestly, it's not a very cheap course. It's fairly expensive. Let me just open up something that should give you enough information. I think, yeah. See, these are kind of things which are already available on the internet. I don't want to waste a lot of time discussing about this. This doesn't add any value. So let's just say, hypothetically, today you discuss with me and you become exceedingly excited about this field. So much so, yeah. So much so that you decide that this is the field that you want to get into, and let's just say you enroll for CFA level 1. अगर आपको level 1 का registration करना है, earliest you can do is February 2025. The fee for that, as you can see, is not less. I mean, it looks less, but it's USD, so it's 1290 USD. Plus there is a 18% GST or tax added to that. Overall, you will realize it will definitely cross 1 lakh ka threshold for you to register for any level of CFA for that matter, depending upon which is the registration that you do and when you register. Plus level 1 mein there is a initial charge as well. So for that matter, level 1 can be very expensive. L2 and L3 combined, total cost can go anywhere above 3 to 4 lakhs. And of course, I have not even added calculator, tuition, and all of those things. This is just the cost of getting yourself registered to give an exam, assuming that you clear all 3 levels on one go, which ideally should be a decent target. All 3 levels should be cleared on one go. Now, let me tell you the cost that I had incurred for level 1, 2, 3 combined. Level 1 costed me some 18,000 INR. Level 2 costed me around 28 to 30,000, I think. And level 3 I gave recently, which costed me around 31, 32,000, something of that sort. I don't remember the exact number because there was a conversion attached to that. So the overall cost for me was somewhere close to or somewhere less than 80,000. What changed my cost from the level that I was speaking about to that level which I just told you about was basically scholarship, of course. To be honest, I gave my exam just because I got scholarships. Maybe I would not have given if I didn't get one. Let me just clear the other clutter as well, because a lot of you guys had asked about scholarships in specific. So scholarships in my time used to be slightly varied. Today they are slightly different. So let me talk about what happens today. Agar you decide that you want to go for a CFA today, hypothetically, and you want to, of course, maximize your odds of getting a scholarship, the first time that you can give your attempt would be August of 2025. The registration for scholarship, and I'm only talking about access scholarship right now. Women's scholarship and others are different. I don't want to get too much in depth, which is specific ones, but this is a scholarship which is open to everyone. This scholarship is available for you to apply on either like from 6th November to 25th of November, which is the upcoming month. आप इस scholarship के लिए apply कर सकते हो, but let me tell you one thing. Don't jump into and write this scholarship, because the scholarship that gets given to you is actually, I mean, agar if you're not really sure that you want to give it, I would suggest aap mat dena, because it can really help someone who's in genuine need of it. It should not be done that you apply for a scholarship and don't give an exam. So make up your mind. You have time till 15th of November to make up your mind whether or not you want to go for it, which is like a 1 month time frame, and then you can decide whether or not you want to give your application for scholarship. This is access scholarship. Iska basically there are two criteria behind the access scholarship. The criteria number one is that you should be meritorious, so it's merit. The criteria number two is you should have a genuine need of it. So it's a merit come need based scholarship. You should have merit, and you should also have genuine need in order to get this particular scholarship. Let me tell you why a lot of people do not get their scholarship, at least on the first go. Either they focus too much on their need. They're like, acha, we are Indians, we'll write a story faked up with faked up numbers, and put in a kind of income that they will eventually feel the need that you should get this scholarship. Trust me, that doesn't work. Second is the kind of people who focus only on their entire journey and their merit, that I've done this, I've done that, because of all the things that I've done in my life so far. I topped class 12 in my BCom. I'm the rank holder, rank number 1, and all of those things. Sadly, a lot of those people who focus only on merit are also not going to get the scholarship. So you have to focus on both. Let me tell you one thing. With my scholarship applications, which I had put for all 3 levels, I got scholarships across all 3 levels on the first go. I did not fake any of my income or anything. My income was genuine and it was decent, which will at least be like 5-10x of what people usually write to get a scholarship. At least they are like, apna family income itna kam dikha dete hain that I get the scholarship. Doesn't really work like I told you, right? So I gave genuine correct numbers, and always be genuine with your application essays. And I want to go a little into application essays as well, so that you get an idea about what is it that they're actually looking for in these scholarships, right? So like I have already given you a brief background, there are two things that they will evaluate on. Number one is merit, second one is need. There will be two essays that you will have to write in order to ensure that you get this scholarship. Before I delve into what is to be done in those scholarships essays, let me tell you what is not to be done. Number one, do not write anything fake, which I've already told you. And most important, number two, don't get this essays done from ChatGPT. It's very easy to figure out today what is AI written and what is not. The moment you write something from AI, I'm not saying there's 0% chance that you will get the scholarship, but the odds go considerably lower. So it has to be a human written personal essay which makes sense to the people, that the reader should be enticed into giving you scholarship. So let me just write down the questions that are asked within these two scholarships, and let me hear your perspective. It's been a long monologue that I have done so far. I want to hear your perspective as to what do you think is required in these two questions, if at all you have any idea. And just one caveat, the essays are 250 words each. So there will be a box. In that box, you can only write 250 words. Up to 51 words bhi nahi likh paoge, because that dialog box that's open over there, it won't accept anything. So you have 250 words each among these two questions, which will determine your fate, whether you end up spending 4 lakhs on your degree or whether you end up spending मेरे केस में थोड़ा कम था, because L1 के टाइम पे it was much more cheaper, but less than 1 lakh for your overall designation. So I want to open up and hear from you. What do you think is the requirement in these two questions, and give me separate answers. That, sir, I think question number 1 should focus on this, and I think question number 2 should focus on this. Would love to hear someone raising their hands, and we can have a discussion right now. Yes, Tisha, please.
So I feel question number one suggests that how getting a scholarship is going to help you in your career in CFA.
Mhm.
And the second question tells you that how is it going to help the society after you've been a CFA.
Broadly, it hits the nail, like the first nail at the right spot. And if we are to go deeper into this, let me give you my perspective and what worked for me, because to each their own is the idea. But what essentially worked for me in my applications were, the first one is, what prompted you to apply for this scholarship. And if you guys are sitting on something, I would request up notes le lo, it will help your cause a lot. There are 3-4 things that you need to address within the first one. First thing that you want to touch upon is your background. Like, what prompted you to apply for this scholarship has a lot to do with your existing background. What is the background that you come from? You need to showcase that you have a genuine interest in the field of finance. So you will only apply for a scholarship with CFA if you have a genuine interest in the field of finance, not because आपको ऐसे लिखने का मन करता है, or just because one fine day you woke up and you wanted to write a scholarship essay, you wrote it. Not that way. In this 250 words, and trust me, it will be a very painful exercise to clutter everything down, declutter everything down and put it into 250 words. It will be a very painful exercise, because the word limit is very, very low. It's extremely less to cover up everything that I'm saying. But first thing is to show a genuine interest and desire in the field of finance, and a genuine interest and desire in the field of CFA. You also need to very briefly touch upon your long-term career goals. Very briefly. When I say very briefly, आपको एकदम specific होना ही नहीं है. That I want to become a research analyst is not what you want to cover up over here. You only want to cover up this fact, that you only want to portray this fact that you want to build a career in the field of finance, and a CFA designation is going to help you in order to be able to get that. So this is like the first, I would say, 60 to 70 words where you have to show genuine interest and the fact that you understand what this scholarship can help you achieve. After that comes the second phase, where you have to showcase that you are someone who's meritorious. What prompted you to apply for this scholarship is that you have a lot of merit backing you up. You are someone who is genuinely interested, and not just interested, which you discuss in the first 60 70 words, but also has a proven track record or a history of doing something, or giving results out of your work. It can be class 12 ka results, it can be getting exceptional scores, it can also be participating in your college fests, which has got a lot to do with finance, or it can be something else which showcases that you have the merit which you have already showcased in terms of doing that. And finally, you have to connect all of these dots together and say that, you know what, I'm genuinely interested in this. You know what, I understand what I want to do over the long term. You know what, CF is going to help me do this. And you know what, I've already done so many things, which means that I am a capable candidate. And towards the end, back it up by saying that while you have all of these things in place, for any, I mean, unless you're exceptionally rich, of course, it's a different thing. Even at a very, decent income, you will be in a position wherein paying 1.5 lakhs just for registering for CFA L1 may be a very big challenge for a lot of you people. So there you have to showcase that what is really stopping you from doing this is the fee. So if you could get that fee reduced to $400 plus GST, which brings down the overall cost considerably to around 35,000 or something, you will be able to really put a strong throttle on your overall whatever goals you are and goals you have, and you can achieve those. So that is how you have to connect all of these dots in question number 1. And question number 2, like you mentioned, broader society of course is a good way to look at it, but I would say that again, note down these few things. In question number 2, you have to be a little specific about a few things that we discussed earlier. So I told you that just give a high level introduction of what you want to do, why you are interested in the career of finance. In this one, the second prompt, you can go slightly deeper and give an explanation of, what, I am genuinely interested in pursuing whatever, manlo equity research, right? You have already done exceptional things within this. Maybe you have already written 3-4 research notes. Maybe you already have gone through a lot of this. Maybe you have invested and made a lot of money out of it. Maybe you have seen your parents invest and get bust out of a few of those investments. So you have genuinely understood that these are the things that you have already done, and this is what you want to achieve because of this reason. So second prompt me, you have to go very deep into your overall goals and what prompted you to get into that goal, right? And then you have to close it by including maybe something that you can do for the society. For me, it was saying that I'm going to conduct these kind of sessions, and I have been doing this for a very long period of time. I've also been assisting a lot of other fellow members get a lot of information, insights, not just now, but I've conducted a lot of these in the past as well. So my focal point over here was that, what, my interest is this. And how will getting a scholarship make a difference? Well, getting a scholarship will allow me to give CFA L1, L2 or L3, whatever the situation was, whichever application I was making into. And because I got, if I get that scholarship, I'll continue to apply the same level of diligence which I'm doing today for the benefit of everyone, and disseminate my information to a wider audience, and do something good for the society and all of those things. So that is also one way to look at it and end on this note. Here 250 words should ideally be sufficient, because it's an essay with a purpose. First one there was an essay with 3-4 purposes. Here it's an essay with more or less a single purpose, that getting a CFA designation will allow you to become this, and when you become this, you're going to do this 2-3 transformational things. Maybe you will become a very ethical investor. Maybe you will become an investor who wants to go deep into ESG investing. Maybe you want to be someone who wants to become a lecturer, and you want to impart your knowledge and information to a very wide public, and genuinely create interest for a lot of people who otherwise might have interest in the field of finance but are lost. There are so many of us, right? Ki interest in finance, but I don't know what really to do. So then there you need to connect all of these dots and craft a very, very personalized essay, which a chat GPT will never be able to do for you. Let me just read what you've said. Answer to sir, like you, sir, I'll apply for CFA and give the level 1 if I get scholarship. Without it, I won't be able to pursue, since I'm already given FRM L1 in November 2024, and I really want to go into investment banking. Please guide me. So guidance is, again, I mean, it's from a guidance perspective, it remains the same. FRM L1 though, simultaneously, I would suggest whenever your dates are, I hope you will still have time to be able to meet this deadline. And if you're able to meet this deadline, do give a shot to this. One thing that I want to be a little this is off the record. I don't want this to be on the record, but just based on empirical evidence of very handful, matlab just 10-15 people that I've discussed with, I have seen that reapplicants to the scholarship usually get the scholarship, as long as you're not writing matlab agar aap shit nahi likh rahe ho, if you have a genuine interest, sometimes it is possible that despite everything being correct, you may not necessarily get a scholarship. Agar you're not able to get this one, and it is a very big hindrance to you ki bina scholarship aap nahi de sakte. There are so many of us. I would like to believe that 1.5 lakhs is not a small amount, right? So if you write this and you're not able to get this, usually you will get the decision in 4 to 6 weeks. Agar nahi hota hai ye, then apply for this one. That is if you have genuine interest, number 1, and maintain the storyline. Don't change the entire story. One thing again for reapplicants, I don't want to get into reapplicant because a lot of you must be applicants, but reapplicants mein people what they do is, acha ye wala story work nahi kiya, let me change the entire story and make it work. That is also not going to work. Maintain the story line similar, but of course say that, you know what, last time it didn't work out, but this is something incremental that I've done over the last 3 months, and I think now I deserve a scholarship. So something of that sort needs to come out so that the reader genuinely believes that you need a scholarship. And again, going back to where I started from, only apply for this if you are sure of giving the examination, number one, and if it is genuinely a big amount, which I think a lot of Indians will definitely feel that it's genuinely a very big amount. And don't fake anything. Agar aapka income is X, if your family income is X, whatever bracket it is, nobody gets to know other than the people who read it, who are based out of US, so you know they don't necessarily care about it. Don't fake on any of the information that you provide. You don't want to be in a position wherein you have done CFA L1, L2, L3, and you get, you know, ripped off your degree after clearing L3 because you faked certain information and hid certain information. Like I told you, with a decent income as well, you can get the scholarships. So I think we have covered a few things. We have covered why CFA, for whom CFA, cost of CFA. We have also covered applications and, you know, when can you apply for different applications. I think one more question which was much more common was, who can give, or rather, when can you give the CFA? Again, L1, L2, L3, it's all available online. You just need to do a little bit of search. But if you want to hear from the horse's mouth, the idea behind giving L1, L2, L3 based on revised regulation is that आप L1 दे सकते हो within 23 months to your graduation, which means at a point of time when you have just 2 years left to graduating. So if someone is on a 4-year graduation program, you need to cover the first 2 years, after which you can give L1. If someone is on 3 years graduation program, you have to get done with the first year, after which you're eligible to give the level 1 examination. Simultaneously, agar L2 ka baat karu, L2 is something you can give when you're 11 months pending into your graduation, which means if you have a 4-year graduation program, you should be done with the first 3 years, the last year you can give. And if you're with a 3-year graduation program, again, simple math, get done with the first 2 years. And during the 3rd year, at some point of time, you can give your level 2 examination when you're less than 11 months away from graduating. So those are on the eligibility criteria. Level 3 is something that you can give after you've graduated, and then you need to get all the 4,000 hours work experience in 36 months, all of those things done in order to get a CFA charter. I have seen a lot of people who do CFA level 3 and don't hold a charter. I am one of them. I too recently cleared, so for me it might be a different thing altogether, but for a lot of other people it may not be the same. So you need to decide for yourself whether or not you want a charter and whether or not it's adding any specific value to you. Certain situations people need to hold it. If you're in hardcore asset management, or if you're in hardcore portfolio management business, having a CFA designation adds a lot of value, because then you're being used as a marketing material to raise funds for yourself. So that is something which will come much later. So with that, I think most of the questions that were asked are being covered up. You need to decide for yourself whether it is something that makes a lot of sense for you. Let me just briefly touch upon what is there in the syllabus. I don't want to again, speak about something which is again, available out there online. If you just do a little bit of research as well, you don't need to really get very deep into it. You will still be able to understand that usually there are certain things like ethics, quants, economics, financial statement analysis, corporate issuers, and part 2 you will have fixed income, derivative, equity, portfolio, alternative investments. These are the broad headings that you need to get yourself accustomed with. Within this, you will have a MCQ based format for level 1 and level 2. Level 3 is a hybrid wherein you will have some questions in MCQ format and some question where you have to write it down as well. So that's how the syllabus is broadly structured. If I compare it with some other courses, अगर मैं FRM से compare करूँ, CFA, FRM are different certifications because there you have only an inch wide knowledge, but you go very deep. आप बहुत deep जाते हो within all of these things. You go extremely deep in portfolio management. You go extremely deep in asset management, wealth management, and portfolio. ये सारी चीजों में आप बहुत ज़्यादा deep जाते हो. I think there is nothing after this, more or less. Of course, there's always everything, but you cover 80-90% breadth. If I compare it with something else, let's just say graduation, yeah, if I compare it with CA, CA is 1 kilometer wide and going, deep in all of that, but not as deep as a CFA. So CA में आप tax भी करोगे, CA में आप to an extent you do SFM, where you have financial risk management, which covers up 10% of what you cover in CFA as well. There you also have, I think I already said tax, you have accounts, you have ethics, you have law. Law आजकल हटा दिया, but you basically get the gist. You have 7-8 subjects wherein you don't necessarily go fully deep, but you have a wide variety of knowledge. Here you have just a few things, but you go extremely deep within that. Even the idea behind understanding economics is not the economics that you discuss in your ग्रेजुएशन. वहां पे इकोनॉमिक्स में बहुत सारे यूटिलिटी ये वो जो चीजें आप पढ़ते हो, इट्स नॉट द सेम इकोनॉमिक्स यू स्टडी हियर. हियर द आइडिया बिहाइंड लर्निंग इकोनॉमिक्स इज आल्सो from an application perspective. How can you apply economics when you're making a decision about a portfolio? So that is the way everything is basically structured in case of a CFA program. Same goes for something else as well. For example, if I talk about financial statement analysis, you learn financial statement analysis in order to be able to apply it as a fund manager. So that's what you are learning over there. So it's a mile deep and an inch wide course, as I would say it. Now let me go and take questions. Those were all the things that I wanted to discuss. Whatever questions you guys have, more than happy to take up any questions and give out the best that I can. I wanted to keep it a power pack session. I don't want to have a 2-hour long monologue with you and get everyone bored. So do shoot out questions, and I open up the floor. Next 20 minutes I'll be taking as many questions as possible for me, and as long as they make sense. Last part of question number 2. So I think this will be uploaded, so you can instead of repeating anything, you can go and watch the video lecture. It will help your cause later on. Then you have, sir, shall I apply for CFA scholarship after level 1 and to FRM or with FRM L1? Rohit, sorry, I did not get your question. Actually, it's a very rigorous course. What motivated you to do it after CA? So Siddhant, I didn't do it after CA. I was doing it kind of simultaneously. One of the reasons was I wasn't really sure at that point of time that I wanted to get into audit or hardcore chartered accountancy thing. I ended up not getting a hardcore CA thing. So after that, I just covered it just for the sake of it. What is articleship system in CFA? So CFA you don't really have an articleship format. Usually I'll tell you what happens. Pehle the CFA Institute wasn't really active in terms of hiring or in terms of assisting you with any form of hiring. Today that has changed slightly. I keep getting updates every now and then that if you're a BCom, if you're a fresher, and if you have done level 2, this is an opportunity which is available. If you've done L3, after I completed L3, I think there was a fresher opportunity that came to me, which was for CRISIL as well. So ऐसा कोई articleship वाला format नहीं होता है. There the idea is that you need to cover up 4,000 hours of work experience in a minimum of 36 months. So you need to work for 3 years, cover 4,000 hours, and that will give you the eligibility to get your CFA charter. But you can clear CFA level 3 even before that. What is the benefit of doing CFA along with actuaries? That is what I say, Kritika. You'll have to decide for yourself. One of the benefits for me was that it became a very easy course for me. Quant and FSA and a lot of portfolio fixed income things came very naturally to me. I'll tell you, I genuinely studied for around 2 weeks for CFA L1 because I basically knew all the concepts much more deeper than what was discussed in CFA. So it became very easy for me, and other things which I wanted to cover up for myself because I was into investment banking, those got covered up as well. So I had to give relatively lesser effort than most of the other people, and I could maximize the benefits out of it. But अगर आप hardcore actuarial में हो, you will have to decide for yourself whether or not you want to do this. I have spoken to a few people who are actuaries, or let's just say who are pursuing actuarial science, are into hardcore pricing reserving, and they want to foray into something different. कि सर ये थोड़ा boring लग रहा है, I want to do something different as well. I'm starting off with my CFA designation, and I'll see in the next couple of years where it can take me. So with a leap of faith, a lot of people have done that. It may not necessarily add a lot of value if you're hardcore actuarial doing only actuarial science. What is the benefit? Okay. Does knowledge of CA help in CFA, and by how much? So benefit of doing CA with CFA, let me tell you how it will help you. Financial statement analysis आपका more or less cover up हो जाएगा, उसमें ज़्यादा कुछ आपको नहीं करना पड़ेगा. So that basically gets done. Portfolio management as a subject, I'm talking only about L1 right now. Portfolio management में you will get done with 20, 30, 40% of the syllabus. That will also be covered. Fixed income may also you will have some idea, not necessarily derivatives. And to certain extent, you will have idea about corporate issuers as well. So I would say you will start at a point wherein you will have 25 to 30%, maybe 20 to 30% of your syllabus already covered, assuming that you have given CA final, SFM and everything. So you will have that knowledge already. They say currency wala things. I'm not sure if you have done CA already, but CA ke final mein in SFM you have currencies discussed in depth. So that is something that comes in CFA level 1 and level 2 as well. So you will realize कि अच्छा sir ये तो done है. I'm already done with this chapter, which is very difficult for a lot of other folks. So you do like 20-30% of the heavyweight lifting by the time you're already done with your CA. What if you don't have a meritorious achievements? Can I still get scholarship? Of course, you can still get scholarship. A lot of people don't necessarily have crazy amount of meritorious achievements. Like I said, ultimately it's about connecting all the dots together. What prompted you to apply for this scholarship? Do you have a genuine need of this scholarship? And what will you do after your scholarship is achieved? And within that, start doing certain things. Maybe start giving back to the society one way or the other, with which you can actually create a good story for yourself. Shall I give CFA L1 after clearing FRM L2 or alongside FRM L2? FRM L2, when are you planning to give FRM L2? I think that will be a very important consideration. Agar if you are planning to have a wide break between that, if you are planning to have it in the next November, अगर आप May 25 कर रहे हो तो रोहित, I think you're on relatively tight timelines. I would suggest maybe get done with FRM L2 first. Maybe register for CFA. I think आपके लिए if I have to be even, I think you even asked about scholarship, right? Maybe you can just apply for this scholarship because May का तो आप scholarship, I think anyway it's closed, right? So you can apply for this scholarship and after that give your FRM L2 and then maybe give your CFA L1. It'll be a tight timeline, but at least you will have enough room to breathe. You don't want to be in a position where you don't clear FRM L2 and CFA L1. It's better to take a 2-3 months gap in between. And even after that, agar aap positively aage badho, and if you have planned things in advance and in a good way, it won't really take you a lot of time to get from CFA L1 in August to L3 whenever you plan to give it. L1, L2, L3, you can also plan it in a good way, assuming that scholarship is not the biggest criteria holding you back. Agar if you plan it in a good way, theoretically you can complete it in like 15-18 months as well. So not achievable for everyone, but definitely something that you can ponder or something that you can consider. Email ID, let me just give you my email ID. Phone number is slightly I'm just giving you my email ID over here. You can write to me and I'll get back to you on whatever questions or queries that you may have. What combo suits what type of job roles in practical life? CA, CFA, CFA Actuary, CFA FRM. I would also want to add MBA to that. So CAS plus CFA is basically for someone who has done their CFA but wants to get a career in the field of finance, not necessarily the ekdam hardcore finance, but at least something better. It also helps with job prospects and it also sometimes helps with getting a early promotion. So CA, CFA can be for someone who wants to, in my case also, it was like with CFA, I got into something and I want to upskill myself. It can also be that you're into something and you want to get a promotion. So that way it can work for you. CFA actually not necessarily the best combination that way, unless you are into actuarial and want to foray into into hardcore finance, or if you're into CFA and want to foray into actuarial science. Although earlier there used to be exemptions between the two. CFA FRM sounds like a very good thing because then you have detailed knowledge of risk, you have detailed knowledge of portfolio management. Risk plus portfolio management is what makes you a good fund manager. So that can help you get into hardcore finance as a fund manager, as a research analyst, as a equity research guy or something like that. So these kind of job opportunities get open for you if you do this. Any further questions? More than happy to take. Before that, we had just one announcement to make while we are doing this. We are also coming up with live sessions for CFA at our end as well. You will have detailed announcements coming here and there soon. Just about that, the thing will be, these sessions are going to be taken live. it will be created in such a way that it meets the needs and requirements of both working professionals as well as certain freshers. The idea behind these sessions would be to give you all everything in live lectures. We don't want to give anything recorded, because that sometimes creates a friction between a lot of people who may not necessarily be able to get the full flavor. So all of these will be live classes by experts in those fields. So you will have 3-4 faculty members, someone who will teach you economics, someone who will teach you certain other subject matters, but these are all going to be people who come from that domain, right? So someone in investment banking is actually going to teach you more or less something about equity investments or maybe corporate issuers, because they have practical exposure there. So the idea is to create a course wherein you get practical exposure from people who understand the field from their on ground presence. So more details about what you asked in terms of tuition fees, classes, timings, all those things, you have to stay tuned. We'll come back with those in the in due course of time. So those were the major things that I wanted to cover. If there are any other questions, I'm here for the next 4 or 5 minutes. If there are none, I'd wish you a very happy weekend. Thanks a lot for joining on a Sunday afternoon. Genuinely shows that you have interest. Otherwise, nobody is going to waste their Sunday afternoon trying to get into these kind of sessions. So doing MBA, taking attendance wala college makes sense, or doing CA less attendance college? uh, I I didn't get it. So doing MBA taking attendance wala college makes sense, or doing CA less attendance? See, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. I did my CA with a attendance wala college. I was in Xavier's. Along with Xavier's, which was a attendance mandatory college, I did my CA. Felt very painful at that point of time. Looking back at it, it was a good decision. Given all over again, I'll probably do it once more. MBA versus CA is a different topic altogether. I don't want to touch upon something which may deviate us from the core ask of what we're supposed to discuss over here. But again, you'll have to ask yourself, what is it that really entices you? Most of the people who want to have a much wider options available for them usually go for MBA. But having said that, there are exceptions altogether. I'm myself an exception. I've done CA and I'm into a industry which is, or I won't say which is, but at least which 5 years back when I joined into investment banking was not really open for chartered accountants. So you can do whatever you want with whatever degree. Degree is just an addition to you. But for someone who wants to keep a lot of doors open, and of course there is a lot of prestige that comes with MBA. If you're doing an MBA from IIM ABC, that is a very different prestige as compared to, let's just say you've just done a CA and not necessarily a rank holder and not necessarily have a great articleship exposure. So if you want to leverage those points and want to play out the game of prestige, of course MBA is a better opportunity. If you want to play it safe, maybe CA is a better opportunity, but you need to decide for yourself. Anything else? You guys are here sticking around. Let me know if there are any further questions. Otherwise, we can wrap it up for the day. And like I said, stay tuned. We'll come back with a lot of other discussion points as well. Thanks a lot, Vanshit. So CFA level 1 prep time. For someone who does not have a lot of background information and who wants to play safe, I would say usually institute has said 300 hours. I think 300 hours is, to be honest, quite a lot. I think agar aap smart ho, if you're doing focused work, you can get done with it with anywhere between 175 to 200 hours of your own work, which is basically to say that you study for a couple of hours every month and do that for 3 months straight. That will be more than enough. You will be in a spot wherein you can comfortably go and sit and be confident. Of course results can be whatever, but agar aap 3 mahine 2 घंटे each पढ़ के जा रहे हो, you should ideally not be in a surprise, assuming that you were actually studying for those 2 hours. So you get the gist, right? Anything else? I'm going to stick around till I get the last exiter, or till I get the last questions. If you're done with your questions, feel free to enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks Rohit, thanks Sanchi, thanks Vanshit, thank you everyone.
Sir,
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I was confused whether I should go for C or not. मतलब C, I have started preparation for foundation,
Right.
but मतलब इतना मतलब I did not like the interest. मतलब बहुत कुछ ऐसा routine टाइप लगा. So आगे इंटर
Okay.
फाइनल में ऐसा है कि नहीं.
See, I didn't give foundation. मेरे टाइम पे CPT होता था. What is it that you didn't like? I think that will
So
be very
law.
important. लॉ तो देखो आजकल उतना एक्सटेंसिव नहीं है एज यू मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड वेयर यू आर कमिंग फ्रॉम. Audit of course is going to be there. Audit was a pain point for me as well. So to be honest, if law audit is painful, the pain is only going to increase as you move forwards. uh, but yeah, I mean, CA also has its own benefits. If you can get into a big four, the kind of experience or exposure that you get while you're still at college as a second year college going kid, I was able to do internal audit for listed companies. So that kind of exposure is very rare to get into other fields. So it has its own pros and cons. But if you extensively dreaded, or if you think that you will extensively dread subject matters like tax, because tax at the end of the day becomes a lot of law. You have to understand the law
Yes,
and you
sir.
have to implement. So अगर वो सब चीज आपको बहुत ज्यादा difficult लगा at that point of time, the difficulty is going to increase. But yeah, you will get a lot of practical experience which will help your cause too. So I don't want to say that it's a bad course at all, but if those are the things that you did not like and you feel that it was difficult for you, the difficulty is only going to go up. It's not going to go down in the inter and final.
Okay, sir. And sir, doing articleship in Big Four is preferable or any normal?
Exposure matters. I didn't do at a big four because I hadn't even applied, to be honest, because of certain experiences that a lot of other people had in the area where I was.
Yes, sir. Same.
So yeah, not just in terms of what you're seeing in social media today, but also that in big four sometimes what happens, or rather most of the times what used to happen, and that has changed today. But पहले ये होता था कि जैसे अगर आप निकल गए, you're a rank holder CA, and you get into internal audit and you keep doing that for 3 years. At that point of time, the picture was very different as compared to what it is today. So that becomes a very painful experience. So वैसा हुआ करता था, but today it has changed a lot. So with that, you have to again decide for yourself. The demand, of course, will be very high. If you're in a big four, you'll have to spend a lot of time. It will be as good as a full-time job. With that, maybe more than a full-time job. More than a full-time job, plus maybe your graduation, depending on whether you're in a collegiate, attendance wala college or non-attendance wala college. That can add on a lot of pressure at your end. So you have to look at it holistically. Not one answer fits everyone. But yeah, undeniably, the kind of experience that you will get at a big four, it's very difficult to get it at other firms. But if you're going for a mid-size, you can go at some places like, in our times, it used to be Lodhas and others, which gave a very decent exposure. Not necessarily like big four, but with some level of lenience as compared to what you would otherwise have to experience at big four as well. So that's also a good thing.
So, sir, after job, Big Four is good, like for exposure and all. If we clear
After
final.
job,
No, after
of,
final.
of course it is. See, today big four is a much different thing, or a much different giant as compared to what it was 20 years back, even what it was 5 years, 6 years back. मेरे time पे big four were just making their foray in the field of investment banking and consulting and all of those things. Today big fours are dominating these fields. So big four today is not just about audit or statutory audit or internal audit, or compliance or tax. So big four has become so wide that I just can't say that it's good or bad. It depends upon your interests, and big four has opportunities for every interest today. I mean, most of the actuarial students, if I have to talk about them, most may be an exaggeration, but 20, 30, 40% of the people are with big fours. All of them have their own actuarial departments as well. So आप एक्चुअल डिपार्टमेंट में भी कर सकते हो काम इन बिग फोर, आप एक कंसल्टेंट की तरह भी काम कर सकते हो, आप एक इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर की तरह भी काम कर सकते हो. You can get varied exposure and experiences at big four. So yes, it is a very good opportunity depending upon what needs and interests that you have. And from there on, I've also seen people make very good jumps and get into exciting careers like private equity. Although that's difficult, I would say. Directly from a big four to a private equity is unheard of. It's exceptional, but yes, people have done it. You can search for people on LinkedIn, and there are many who have done that. So essentially, it gives you and preps you up for a lot of things which can help you in making a very good career switch and have a very great career ahead. Depends all upon a lot of factors.
Yes, thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot, Vanshit. Thanks everyone for joining. And yeah, I think that just covers up everything that we wanted to discuss. Almost the end of the hour. So should you have any other questions, like I said, I've given you out the email. Shoot out emails and I'll try to address all the queries the best way that I possibly can. Once again, yes, I'm there on LinkedIn. You can find my profile. My name is there on the screen. There aren't a lot of other people who have similar names. So yeah, it'll be easier for you to find me. Chalo guys, take care. Have a very nice day. I'll see you on other webinars that we'll be holding. Bye.